Welcome to the App on Board Studio training. In our training session today, we will provide guidance on how to brainstorm and plan out your unit before working in the studio. Once we reach the end of this training, our goal is for you to be able to identify what type of unit you will be creating. Before you begin building a unit, it's best to first plan out what kind of experience you want to create. Is it a pitch for a messaging app? Is it an advertisement for your best-selling game? Understanding what you want to highlight within your playable sets up how you proceed to build it. App on Board Studio operates by playing media files in separate scenes to create a true-to-app experience. Knowing this, the media you choose to feature is based on what experience you want to highlight in your unit. If you were to create a game like our unit AO Beach, the primary focus would be the gameplay. So you'd want to highlight the interactivity of the game mechanics. If you were creating a non-game app like AO Beats, you'd want to highlight the ease of navigation and best features of the app. Additionally, knowing where you plan to have your app featured will also help you choose how to best organize your unit. Different ad types have different file size limitations as well as general guidelines for how they progress. As an App on Board Studio user, you will be able to create Google Play Instant or GPI units. GPI units try to be as true to app as possible and typically run longer than 30 seconds. These must all be compressed down to 8.5 megabytes or less for gaming apps and 2.5 megabytes for non-gaming apps. Once you understand what you'd like to highlight from your app and what limitations exist, you can begin organizing your unit. Traditionally, units are organized as follows. A splash scene plays initially. This establishes the app's title. Then comes the gameplay or activity sequence. Finally, the end scene, which includes the call to action. It's helpful to create a unit storyboard to visualize the desired flow of your scenes. Storyboards are also beneficial for units with more complex transition logic. The gameplay and activity segment is what varies most from unit to unit. This sequence of events is tailor-made to whatever best suits the experience you want to cultivate. The length of your unit will come into play here, and depending on what you chose to highlight, this is where you need to think about how your user will move from scene to scene using gestures or transitions. The general activity structure for a linear unit is repetition of a looping video that prompts user interaction and a non-looping video that transitions into the next looping video. Prepping your assets is an important step when it comes to planning your unit. This process will depend on if you have an app already made to record from, or if you already have your own assets prepared. If you're not recording from a device and are instead using assets that you created, feel free to move on to our assembly tutorial. For others, we've outlined several helpful prep tips to create an optimal user experience for your demo. To record and edit the desired video sections of your app, we recommend using a video editing tool of your choice, such as QuickTime, iMovie, or Adobe Premiere. Consider also using a program that can compress images and videos to optimize your assets. Here are some asset prep tips for recording your videos. Record videos with the background music toggled off. This will make it easier to isolate the sound effects. You can record the background music separately by simply allowing the app to remain idle. For the best user experience across a multitude of devices, record on a phone with a 16:9 or 9:16 aspect ratio. Record all videos as HD files with a frame rate of 30 frames per second in the MP4 or MOV format. Many video exporters also allow you to control these settings. Always record the first launch of the app, since replaying tutorials often involves a hassle. Record long enough clips for segments that will prompt a user action. This will allow you to create loops more easily. Start action and transitional videos immediately after the user makes an interaction. When editing your videos, keep video files as clean as possible by removing any unnecessary or non-functional UI elements that users are not expected to interact with. Make looping videos as clean and seamless as possible by keeping them short. And always include visual indicators like a finger or an arrow animation to instruct the user on their next action. Here are some helpful tips for audio recording and editing. Record your background music files separately. Export audio as mono files and save them in the MP3 format. The optimal background music file length is 10 to 25 seconds. And make your background music a clean and seamless loop. Our final asset prep tip is to make sure that your naming conventions best communicate the media's purpose within the demo structure. Here are some examples. This will allow you to quickly reference an asset's purpose and facilitate the unit's assembly. The more thorough your preparation, the more easily you'll be able to build your unit. In the following tutorial, we'll show you how to execute your plan and construct your very own unit.